Okay, everybody, Mrs. Cook, the Secretary of State, is going to meet us in her office and show us some of the state symbols. So now we need to go find her office. Okay, who's going to lead the way? Okay, Morgan, help us find our way. Hello, we're from Rosebud Elementary, and we're here to see Secretary of State Cook.
Sure. Here she is. Good morning. You must be the class from Rosebud. Well, welcome. I'm Bekki Cook, your Secretary of State.
Mrs. Cook, we have been studying our state symbols, and we understand you have some in your office.
We sure do. We keep the Great Seal of the state of Missouri. This is an example of an early seal.
That can't be it. I saw a picture of the seal, and it's round, and it doesn't have a face on it.
Oh, well, I know this doesn't really look like a seal, but it actually is. This big ball, when you push it, acts like a lever, and the print comes off of the metal plate down here, presses onto the paper. What you get is an embossed result that can't be erased.
So whose face is on there?
This isn't, I don't think, a face of any real person. I think the artist created it to make something very heavy and decorative that couldn't be carried away, because before this seal, someone actually took our Great Seal away on horseback.
Wow, we learned about state symbols, but we didn't learn that.
Well, what did you learn?
Well, this is my report. The Great Seal of the state of Missouri was designed in 1821 by Robert W. Wells. After that, Wells was the state attorney general for Missouri and then a federal judge, and everyone forgot that he had designed the seal. More than 100 years later, historians found a letter from Wells explaining the symbols and realized who he was. Wells said each part of the seal had a special meaning. The two large bears stand for courage and strength. The 24 stars on the top show that Missouri was the 24th state to join the United States. In the middle is a circle with the United States seal on one side and another bear and moon on the other. This shows that the state is part of the United States, but also has its own unique symbols. Below is the state motto in Latin. It says, "Let the welfare of the people be the supreme law."
That's very good, Beth. We have other symbols of the state as well. In fact, I think I see one in this room.
Oh, I know. The state flag. I did a report on it. The Missouri state flag. For almost 100 years, Missouri didn't even have a state flag. In 1908, a club called the Daughters of the American Revolution asked Mrs. Marie Oliver to design a new flag. She drew it on paper, but while people were still considering it, the paper was destroyed when the Capitol in Jefferson City burned down. Mrs. Oliver made a new copy painted on silk. In 1913, it became the state flag. Her flag has 3 big stripes colored red for bravery, white for purity, and blue for justice. They're the same colors as the U.S. flag, showing that Missouri is part of the United States. In the middle is the state coat of arms, which is part of the state seal and shows that Missouri also makes its own decisions. Because her first pattern burnt up, Mrs. Oliver asked to keep the new design at her home in Cape Girardeau. After she died in 1944, her family returned the flag to the Secretary of State in Jefferson City. Today, the original flag is on display in the Missouri Information Center near the state capitol.
Good job, Christy. Our own original flag is over 80 years old. A few years ago, it was in terrible shape and it needed repair. So the school children in Missouri raised the funds to preserve it. That tells you that the symbols of Missouri aren't just for adults.
Mrs. Cook, the class has also been learning about how we get our state symbols.
Well, how do we, kids?
I wrote about that. State symbols are decided by the governor and state legislators. Legislators are people from each part of the state of Missouri who are elected by voters to make laws. They meet in the state capitol in 2 groups, the Senate and the House of Representatives. When a person has an idea for a new state symbol, they suggest it to their legislator. He or she then writes up a proposal for a new law called a bill. Then the legislators discuss all the bills one at a time and vote on them. If both the Senate and House of Representatives approve the bill, the governor gets to decide about it. If the governor also likes the bill, he or she signs it and it becomes a law. For every state symbol, there's a law making it a symbol, and each law started as a bill suggested by someone.
All right. Real good, Matt. I need to go check on something for a few seconds. When I get finished, we'll go out into the Capitol and look for some symbols out there. Okay, everybody, let's go look real closely at some other places in the Capitol for some other symbols. I think we'll go down this way.
Hey, aren't those hawthorn flowers? That's the state flower.
I think you're right. Susanna, didn't you do a report on the state flower?
Yep. The state flower, the daughters of the American Revolution, who helped create the state flag, also suggested the hawthorn as the state flower. Its white color symbolizes purity, and the way the flowers grow in groups symbolizes the unity of the people of Missouri. Although its flower is the state flower, the hawthorn plant is a small tree. It can get 30 feet tall and has thorns on its trunk. In the fall, the berries of the hawthorn tree feed many of Missouri's birds and animals.
Super job, Susanna. Thank you. I hear that there is a symbol outside. Is that right, Elena? Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, there's a bluebird box outside that I saw when I came in. And bluebirds are our state bird. The state bird of Missouri is the bluebird. Although it's called blue, bluebirds aren't blue all over. They have blue wings and tails, but a light-colored belly and red throat. Male bluebirds have brighter colors than females. Most bluebirds fly south for the winter, but a few stay in Missouri all year long. In the summer, bluebirds eat mostly insects, but in the winter, they also eat berries from trees like the holly and dogwood. The Missouri Department of Conservation helps people put up special boxes for bluebirds to live in. Today, there are thousands of bluebird boxes in Missouri. The bluebird became our state bird in 1927.
That's right, Elena. And if we remember that we can build bluebird boxes to improve where they can live in our state, hopefully we'll have some of them living in our own backyards.
Hey, look! Just past the bluebird box are some dogwood trees. And the dogwood is our state tree.
Oh, really? Do you have a report on that?
Yes, I do. The flowering dogwood is Missouri's state tree. It grows throughout Missouri and is mentioned in the journals of the explorers Lewis and Clark. The dogwood became our state tree in 1955, but the annual Dogwood Festival in Camdenton started even before that. Today, they still have the Dogwood Parade and crown Miss Dogwood. Thousands of people go to the different dogwood festivals around Missouri every spring to celebrate our state tree in bloom.
Thank you, Morgan. Those festivals sound like a lot of fun, don't they?
Hey, aren't these doors made out of walnut? That's our state tree.
No, it isn't. It's the dogwood.
Oh, then what is the walnut? I know it's one of our symbols.
It's the state nut tree. I've got a report on that. In 1990, the walnut became Missouri's state tree nut. Fourth graders from Stockton, Missouri suggested it as a state symbol and even gave reports to the state legislators about it. Stockton has one of the world's largest walnut processing plants. Walnuts bring more than $50 million to Missouri every year. People eat walnuts, and the walnut shells are used to clean lots of machines, including oil drills and jet engines.
How interesting, Matt. Did you know that walnut shells from Stockton were even used to clean the Statue of Liberty? I think we need to go check some other symbols. Let's go this way.
Miss Cook, right here. Isn't the honeybee one of our state symbols?
Yeah, that's one of my symbols, the state insect. The honeybee became Missouri's state insect in 1985. The honeybee is not a native insect in America. Honeybees came over with European settlers. The explorers Lewis and Clark, who saw the dogwoods, also found honeybees in Missouri far from any town. Bees make honey from flowers, which also helps make the flowers become fruits and vegetables. So bees help make apples, blueberries, pumpkins, and many other things we eat. Today, bees raised in Missouri hives make more than $1 million worth of honey every year.
Second good report, Christy. Congratulations. In fact, you all know a lot about Missouri symbols, don't you? Well, I've got a toughie for you right now. Look around here and see if you can find any Missouri symbol right here.
Hey, isn't that one?
Don't be stupid, that's a wall.
No, I mean what's in the wall. Isn't that the crinoid, the Missouri state fossil?
That's very good, Courtney. Have you written a report about the state fossil?
Yes. The state fossil is the crinoid. Crinoids lived a very long time ago when oceans still covered the central United States, including Missouri. Crinoid fossils are found in limestone rocks, which are common in Missouri, and which formed on the bottom of the ocean. Even though they look like plants, crinoids are really slow-moving animals. And even though the fossil crinoids are extinct, other crinoids still live in the ocean today. You might even find them in your aquarium at your local pet store. The state fossil was first suggested by science students from Lee Summit, Missouri. They presented reports to the state legislature about the crinoid, and it became our state fossil in 1989.
So that's the second state symbol that was really established by students. How many of you have ever hunted for fossils? Great. Let's go into the house lounge for a minute and let you tell us a little bit about it. Come on.
Well, is everyone rested and ready to go out and look for some more symbols?
Yeah.
Well, let's go on out into the hallway.
But I see one more symbol right here, the mule.
Wow, I hadn't even seen that up there. Can you tell Mrs. Cook what you learned about the mule?
The mule is Missouri's state animal. Mules first came to Missouri from Mexico in 1821. Soon, Missouri farmers were raising the biggest and strongest mules in the world. In 1904, people began talking about the famous Missouri mules after they beat all other mules in contest at the St. Louis World's Fair. Today, tractors do most of the work that mules used to do, but many people still raise them for fun. The mule became our state animal in 1995.
Great job, Matt. I couldn't have done better myself. Now let's go out into the hall and finish our hunt for symbols.
Look, that's a lead mine, and lead is one of our state symbols. I did that report. Missouri state mineral and state rock. Missouri state mineral is galena, which contains lead. Southeast Missouri has more galena than anywhere else in the world. People have been mining here for more than 250 years. Today, Missouri produces more than half the nation's lead, worth about $300 million. On the same day galena became state mineral in 1967, Mozarkite became state rock. Mozarkite was first identified in Lincoln, Missouri. Its name is a combination of Missouri, Ozark, and ite, meaning rock. It's a colorful form of flint found only in southwest Missouri and is very popular with rock collectors. Today, rock collectors gather every September in Lincoln for the annual Mozarkite rock swap.
Super, Susanna. There are only 3 symbols left. Can somebody spot something about one around here?
Look, here's a fiddle. It's part of all 3 symbols. Can I tell about them?
Sure.
Missouri State Song, Instrument, and Dance. The Missouri State Song is the Missouri Waltz. Historians aren't sure who wrote it, but it was probably Edgar Settle of New Franklin, Missouri. He originally called it the Graveyard Waltz, and it didn't have any words. In 1916, it was published as the Missouri Waltz, and words were added. The song grew very popular in the next 30 years and became Missouri State Song in 1949. The Missouri Waltz was written for the piano, but can also be played on the state instrument, the fiddle. The fiddle is the same as a violin, but is played differently. Missouri has several styles of fiddle playing handed down from the first European settlers. To help convince the legislature to make the fiddle a state symbol, the man proposing it played the fiddle in the state capitol. Some of the tunes he played were square dance songs. Square dancing also comes from the early European settlers of Missouri. It's called a square dance because people form a square while dancing it. 200 years after its arrival, it's still popular in many parts of Missouri. In 1995, the square dance became our state dance.
So, the mule and the state dance are our 2 newest symbols. Right now, we are actually inside the biggest symbol of all of the symbols for the state capitol. I think we should go on a tour. Come on with me. of the buildings near the Capitol part of state government. If you look down that way, that's the Missouri State Information Center, which holds the state archives, the state library, and the other divisions of the Secretary of State's office. There is the Harry S. Truman State Office Building, where you will find offices for different state departments like Revenue, Economic Development, and Insurance. That is the Missouri Supreme Court Building, which was built in 1907. It's the building where Missouri's top judges hold court and also where the Attorney General's office is located. Over there is the Jefferson Building, which holds lots of different state offices, including the Department of Natural Resources and the Department of Education. Across there is the Governor's Mansion, built 100 years ago, where the governor and his family live.
Class, we need to head home now. Can everyone tell Mrs. Cook thank you?
Thank you, Ms. Cook. Well, you're quite welcome, but I want to thank you. You did a great job on your homework, and you've shared a lot of what you've learned with me, and I've learned a lot. Come back and see me sometime. It was great getting to know you. Bye-bye.
We've talked about a lot of symbols today. Why don't we review them before we head home? Can each of you name your symbol in order?
The Missouri State Seal. State flag. The state flower, the hawthorn. The state bird, the bluebird.
The state tree, the dogwood.
The state tree nut, the walnut.
The state insect, the honeybee.
The state fossil, the crinoid.
The state animal, the mule.
The state mineral, galena. The state rock, mozarkite.
The state song, the Missouri waltz. The state instrument, the fiddle. The state dance, the square dance.
Partial funding provided by the member companies of the Missouri Telephone Association, serving Missouri's telecommunication needs for over 80 years.